Welcome to practice. Take a moment to find a position that allows you to enjoy this time. Maybe you want to take some wiggles in your body. Let's take a deep inhale into the belly and an exhale through the mouth. And gradually settle. Notice your breathing. Maybe you feel the air traveling up and down the back of your nose. Maybe you feel the air gently expanding your navel, and allowing the navel to sink back in. Maybe you want to count back from 9 with every breath. Journeying deeper and deeper into the world of the imaginal, the place where fairy tales live. Maybe you see a cottage in a winter landscape, and you hear footsteps in the snow, and see a girl carrying wood into the house. And behind her you see a wolf following her into the house. A gentle wolf, her friend. Once upon a time, there was this little girl named Kaya and her sacred wolf friend, and they lived in this cottage, out in winter landscapes. She had lost both her parents, not knowingly to what exactly. Her mother had fallen very ill and then once just disappeared. Her father said she was with a doctor who was healing her, yet Kaya wasn't sure. And her father had been working all the time. And one day, as so fate had it, he did not return home from work. And so Kaya spent every day taking care of the cottage, of her wolf, and waiting for her parents to come back. Now Kaya didn't live in a place where it was winter always. Winter it was now, and it started early and was harsh. This time was especially tough for Kaya because winter brought about the memories of the holidays. Memories of traditions, of times of being together. Memories of holiday smells, of cinnamon and vanilla, of potato dumplings, of laughter. And so after having grieved for the past years, spending every Christmas just looking out the window, waiting for her parents to return, this year Kaya had an idea. She looked at her wolf friend in conviction. You know what, Rudolph, which was his name? This year it's going to be different. And Rudolph could see a glittering in the girl's eyes and knew she was serious. Rudolph dearly loved Kaya. She had rescued him when he was still a little puppy wolf, after his mother too had abandoned him, for a hunter had caught her. Kaya took him in and hid him in her bedroom, or rather under her bed, because the house and cottage was so tiny that Kaya didn't really have a room. But she liked to call her bed her bedroom. And there she told him to be quiet, which he was good at from all those hours hiding in the forests from the hunters. And then Kaya would secretly always share a bit of her food with him. Her parents were a bit worried that she was sick and took her to some doctors, but because they didn't have a lot of money and Kaya's mother was getting sicker and sicker, they stopped taking her to the doctor. It was convenient that she ate less. And so they both grew up together and became friends. Really good friends. Friends who are connected by instincts, who don't need words to communicate. Each of them having their own way of sacredly knowing how to navigate the world. And they could just by one look know what the other was thinking. Often, not always. And so the wolf, Rudolph, watched Kaya as she got away from the window, put on her coat, her hat, and her biggest scarf, which was her only scarf. And she took an axe, opened the door, and showed Rudolph to come. We're gonna get a Christmas tree. Rudolph watched Kaya stomp off in her tiny black boots into the snow. Are you coming? He huddled after her, closing the door. She had taught him how to do it, and it was not difficult in the cold winter air and the wind which were supporting him. So Kaya and Rudolph went into the forest and looked at different trees. Yet both of them knew already which tree it was. It was a tiny one that seemed to stand in an almost lonely place. They stood there and looked at it both and knew, this is our tree. It was almost as if through the gray winter skies, there was a tiny light emerging, pointing at that tree. Yet when Kaya lifted the axe to heave off the tree, they heard a voice. Please don't. Kaya stopped. She looked at Rudolph. He had heard it too. She shook her head and lifted the axe again. And again there was this voice. Please don't. Kaya looked at Rudolph, and he had heard it too. So she went closer and saw that the light was not coming from the winter sky. It came from within the tree. And as she looked inside, there was a tiny light being sitting there. Hello, Kaya said. Hello, the being said back. Who are you? Kaya asked. You're so gorgeous and twinkly. I am an elf. Or rather, I am elf, because I'm the only one of my kind left in this forest, so I think I can go with that as a name, because you humans like names, don't you? You elves don't? Kaya asked. No, we do like names. It's just they're usually kind of hard for you humans to pronounce, so it's a bit odd when we mention them. So let's go for elf. That transitions well across both of our worlds. All right, elf, Kaya said. So, what are you doing here? Well, I could ask you the same thing, the elf said. What do you mean? Well, lifting this shiny thing to destroy my home? Your home? Well, duh, what else do you think this is? So, hold on a moment, Kaya said. So, you're an elf and you're living in my Christmas tree. No, the elf said. You hold on a moment. You're a human being who has a wolf as a friend, which is odd, and you want to take my home as your Christmas tree. We are in a pickle, Kaya said, and looked at Rudolph, who took a sigh. What is a Christmas tree? The elf asked. Well, it's a tree that you hang with beautiful things and that makes people come together around it and gather and sing songs and exchange presents and have good food. It's sort of a reminder that we love each other and care for each other and that community and gathering are important. The elf said. Nicht schlecht. That sounds like a nice thing to do. Rudolph barked approvingly. So what are we going to do now? The elf said. Well, it seems like this Christmas tree thing is really important to you, isn't it? Kaya nodded. So how about this? You leave me my tree, and I will help you to get your own tree. How will you do that? The other trees that are around, they're too big for me to use my axe on. I would never be able to carry them home. Let me work my magic and my connections, and you work your magic and your connections, the elf said. Kaya trusted the elf, so she agreed. She then looked at Rudolph and saw that he was slightly cold. He had grown quite comfortable to the warm fire they had at home. So Kaya said, I think it is time for us to go back home now. Okay, the elf said. Yet as a token of my gratitude and to show you my promise, take this with you. And he broke off a piece of the twig that he was sitting on. It smelled wonderfully of Christmas memories. He gave it to Kaya, placed it into her hands, and she felt a bit of the sacred sap that made the oil, which smelled so beautifully. Take this twig with you, and whenever you smell it or see it, you will know that I am in the background, taking care of this deep, deep wish that you have. So Kaya took this twig, and she and Rudolph started their journey home. As they arrived back home, she set up a fire and made sure they both had warm water and a warm tea for herself, which she made from the herbs she had gathered over the autumn and summer and spring before. As Rudolph and Kaya sat in front of the fire, Kaya noticed, I feel this year it's going to be different. Rudolph nodded at her. And what Kaya didn't know was that from now, for the next 24 days, each day, the little elf would send her little awake dreams where she could travel to magical places and uncover wisdom until she finds her Christmas tree. And you, dear listener, are invited to embark on this journey together with Kaya. Invited to receive these 24 different journeys with the elf, or rather from the elf, because the elf doesn't like to appear too much in the front sometimes. The elf likes to work in the background. And each day, the elf will offer you to connect in your dreams or in your meditations with the sacred magic. In order for you to connect to your Kaya and your Rudolph within, invite now your heart, that Kaya, that little child in you, that has maybe been yearning for something for so long, and each year sitting by the window hoping it would finally come again because it was lost so long ago, so surprisingly ago. What is this yearning that you're having for this holiday that you would like the elf to bring into your life? And if your mind starts overthinking, dear listener, take a breath. Feel your body. Feel your heart beating. And just like you were listening to Kaya's fairy tale, or rather elf tale, listen to that tale within you. What's the beat telling you of your heart? Maybe you also look at Rudolph, at this wolf by Kaya's side, and feel, what does this wolf represent? Maybe wildness or intuition or magic. Just listen. And with this, you receive your magical companion for these next 24 days. So whenever in doubt, you can call on your wolf, your Rudolph, to support you, that little child within you, that we're offering these sacred times for over the next 24 days. And you shall receive wisdom. So now, as we sit here with Kaya and Rudolph in front of this fire, curled up with our teas, maybe also a little furry friend is with you or your plant friends. Let's all place our intentions into this fire for this journey to finding our Christmas trees, or rather, receiving them. And maybe you saw it too, but I just saw a little light twinkle above the fire, and I'm pretty sure it was the elf. Let's rest here for a moment and breathe. Maybe as you rest here, you receive some sacred wisdom from this fire, receiving your intention before and now sharing something back. You know it is time to return now, knowing that in the space of the imaginal, where the fairy tales and elf tales live, magic is woven, and all is working and conspiring to make your intentions your reality. And so if you'd like, you can leave a blessing or some words of gratitude in this place, knowing you will return to these magical lands. And maybe there's even a request from Kaya just before you leave, your inner child, of something, how you can honor her each day or make her happy. And with that, you feel your next breath and you start traveling back, knowing that somehow you're always connected. You feel your breath in your belly, navel rising on the inhale, and falling on the exhale. You feel the breath travel up and down your nose. Maybe you feel what it feels like to be alive. Maybe this is where you remember the intention that you placed for this journey. To conclude the practice, I invite you to place your hands in front of your heart or on your heart. And maybe you want to take a moment just honoring this time that you took for yourself, connecting to childlike fantasy, to the wisdom underneath, and to surrender your heartfelt wishes to the biggest power within you. Let's make this Christmas time and holiday season a magical one, if you'd like. Meet me each day for little meditation practices, waking dreams, as I like to call them, knowing that the elf is sprinkling them like tiny sparkling footsteps guiding you towards your dreams. And maybe there's even a community that can benefit from this, and you have some friends or others who can join in. In any case, when we practice presence, we all receive that as a present. So thank you for honoring community and appreciating this time together with yourself this holiday season. And I hope I'll meet you tomorrow, breathing and journeying together. And if you'd like, you can take a breath or a tiny bow as a gesture of gratitude towards yourself, your community and family and friends, and the magic that is your life. Thank you.